Welcome back to the show. We're joined now by offensive lineman Kyle Antos and defensive tackle Peter Bulandr. Kyle, I kind of want to start with you. You know, you guys kind of came a little bit slow out of the gate on the offensive line, but really starting to pick things up. I know you guys have a veteran group. How much is this group really starting to gel and work as a unit?
Well, it's combining the veteran group with the kind of rookie group. We got a lot of guys returning, so it helps out playing with Capristo and Schaub and knowing those guys on the offensive line. But losing Josh Delancey from last year, it was difficult. But Will stepped up, Connor stepped up, and even the number 2 guys have really stepped up. So it's been helpful getting out there and running through the plays, having these guys know what's going on. But even on the rest of the offense, we got the receivers out there, and Crackle's really stepped up too. So we're feeling good with these guys. And in the game, it did start out slow, but when we start passing the ball right and running the ball and figure out what our offense needs to do against certain teams, we start rolling. So.
And I know you guys are like any other offensive lineman. You love to run block.
Yes.
And we kind of look at the rushing attempts. Game 1 against Cornell, it was 38. All the way to now against Carthage, you guys running the ball 52 times. How much does that let you guys kind of get in a groove and really, when you get at the point of attack, you can really get into some of these defensive linemen and put up those big rushing numbers?
Well, coaches are very adamant about us coming off the ball fast. So I think with us being a quick offensive line, we're not the biggest offensive line you'll find, but we're definitely one of the quickest. So coming off the ball fast really helps out. It doesn't give the defense a chance to read what's going on. And we all love to hit, so it's a good mentality that the whole offensive line has, and the defensive line has that too. So I think that really helps coming off the ball and getting those holes for the running backs and holding the blocks for the quarterbacks.
And Peter, you're one of those guys on the defensive line on the other side of the ball. You guys have really been flying around, having a great time so far, ranked 3rd nationally in sacks. You were talking about how this unit just really gets along, and really, it seems like you guys really know each other, and that translates on the field. What's kind of been the key to kind of this resurgence of the Cardinal D-line, you think?
Well, you know what? In the offseason, we all lived together. Willie actually lived down the hall from me. Sean Lockwood, another defensive lineman, was my roommate. And you know what? Just being together a lot kind of instills into each other that we know no matter if we're doing good or bad in the game, we got each other's back. And that's one of the biggest things that we've talked about as a defense, to have each other's back throughout thick and thin.
And a lot of times as one of those interior defensive linemen, you don't nearly get all the glamour stats a lot of times with the sacks and a lot of the tackles for loss. So is kind of your philosophy kind of have to be when you do have a lot of playmakers behind you to just kind of try to gobble up as many guys as you can so a lot of those linebackers can run free when the other team runs the ball? You
know, sometimes that's it. And, you know, me and Jorge and James, when he was playing, we actually kind of joke around a little bit about we're not the ones that always make the news, but we know that in film and kind of in the locker room, we're the ones that contribute to some of those big plays. And, you know, yeah, I like taking up double teams sometimes just to see Matt Winger make the big hits that everyone likes. So
for sure. And, you know, I know Coach Ponks rotates you guys in and out a lot. A lot of teams do it, but it really has helped you guys to stay fresh, and that really helps you when it comes to the 4th quarter when you got 8 D linemen going in and out.
Yep, sure does. You know what? And it goes back to us being confident with each other. You know, I know that the guys behind me are just as talented as I am, and knowing that, it kind of makes me feel more comfortable telling that I need a break. So there's not going to be a big letdown from the 1st or 2nd string.
And Coach, you know, we've talked about how I know you guys focus on the D-line a lot. You got 2 or 3 position coaches in there at all times. Just kind of how much fun has this been for you guys as coaches to just see this unit flourish so well in these first couple weeks?
Well, it's been a lot of fun because we were very worried that our D-line would be the weakest part of our defense because we had such a small amount of experience there and not very big guys. But Coach Antonacci and Coach Blechschmidt have done a fabulous job.
And Peter, how much more credibility does it give, you know, those words when you got some guys talking to you that you know have been to that level and really succeeded?
Well, you know, it kind of shows in practice. Everything's a lot more up-tempo. Everything seems to be a lot more, seems to come from things that have worked in the past. As he was saying, Coach Antonacci played at Northern, and you can kind of see through his drills that those are some of the stuff that some of the really talented defensive linemen in the country have used. And, it shows with the defensive ends doing so well, and that kind of bleeds down to, us at playing tackle with Coach Bill. So I think it shows throughout.
And it's really shown on the field. Well, the Cardinals' last 2 victories have come in front of big crowds at Benedetti Worley Stadium. Our own Holly Roadruck was in the stands and has the story of a very special Cardinal superfan in this week's Cardinal Corner.
Every sport has their fans, but there's one North Central fan who supports every Cardinal at the college. Dr. Gerald Daly, who's known as Doc around campus, has been watching the Cardinals soar to success for more than 6 years when he first moved to Naperville.
Way to go, Cards! Way to go, Cards! Just wandered over here one night and the men's basketball team was playing, and I don't think I ever saw a better basketball team in my whole life. From that point on, I was hooked.
Ever since that night at Gregory Arena, his heart has been filled with a love for Cardinal athletics. And he sits in all the stands watching his beloved Cardinals play the sports they love. And he's even taken that passion one step further.
I scout because I want to know what North Central's up against, really. I want to see how good Wheaton is, or Wesleyan, or Augustana. And so I can have a game plan ready. Like, you can't pass against them, or you can't run against them, or whatever.
Cardinal coaches may not need a scouting report from Doc, but they do love having him around.
He doesn't have an ego. He's doing it out of the sincerity of his heart, and because he truly enjoys being around not only athletics but young people and supporting them.
North Central's second string defense is as good as most schools' first string.
Even though Doc hasn't played sports since graduating from Elmhurst College, where he excelled in football, basketball, and baseball, he still feels the same emotions as any athlete when getting ready to take the field.
When that team runs out of the tunnel, my heart just races. It just like, it goes berserk. Like, it's such a beautiful thing to see. And I know what's coming out of that tunnel. There's a bunch of guys that are gonna give it their best.
And it's not just game day that gets Doc's blood pumping.
Oh! I honestly do not sleep the night before an athletic event. I get so excited, so hyped up. You would think that I was gonna play, It's so funny. And my wife said, "Will you please knock it off? Get to sleep." I can't wait for tomorrow to come.
Doc Daly hasn't missed a home game in any sport in more than 6 years, and with so much Cardinal pride, he doesn't see that streak breaking anytime soon.
I feel like it's a part of me, and if I didn't go, I would be like missing something really great, because you never know when you're going to miss one of the great games of the century, Yeah.
We thank Holly Roadruck for that report. Guys, Kyle, I'll start with you. How has it been to be able to play in front of these home fans? You guys are running the ball a lot. It seems to get everybody going, and that really amps you guys up and kind of helps you play a little bit harder, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, Coach is really adamant about us entertaining the crowd, and I think we've done that in the last few games, especially on the defensive side. It's really helped out knowing that Coach Ponks is on the defensive side, so from an offensive standpoint, we can worry about our game 100% and know that the defense has our back if we do go 3 and out, which has happened sometimes. But it's fun playing in front of the home crowd, knowing that we have both offense and defensive players that are going out there every time and hitting guys hard and shutting them down.
And Coach Kyle alluded to it a little bit there. You always talk about, it's these guys' job to, get the fans on their feet.
Right.
After 2 home dates, what's your assessment?
Well, they're doing a pretty good job. And there's been some very exciting plays on offense and defense and special teams, and we want to keep that really going. The offensive guys opened up a huge hole for Jordan Tassio, and he took off on like a 40-yarder, and all of a sudden we really saw his speed. And so when those guys start opening those holes more often, and he can get into that second level, that's going to be very exciting. But we would like to start catching a few more passes. We'd like to start doing a few more things that are a little more sophisticated with the offense. We've been pretty basic so far, and we're getting closer every day.
Now, Peter, you're a member of the defensive line. It's been the big surprise so far this year. And I know you guys don't do it a lot when you get out of camp, once you get a game plan and everything. But how big was it to go up against a veteran offensive line in camp when you guys go ones versus ones?
You know, I think that's one of the biggest challenges we have. I talk to the guys on the line with me all the time about comparing our line to the lines that we go against. And they might not be the biggest, like Kyle was saying, but they're definitely the fastest, the most physical. And I think that really trains us when we go against teams like Eau Claire, who's had a big line, a good line, but I think it showed that we were training against people that, you know, were better than them. So
definitely. And Kyle, for you guys on the offensive side of the ball, when you guys are going up against a defensive line like this, when you go ones versus ones, that's got to prepare you guys as well, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're playing extremely well right now. And I think with Coach Antonacci and Coach Bill, they're kind of going back to the basics on the moves that the defense is working. So I think maybe last year some of the defensive moves that they were trying to pull were a little too much for them. And I think with Pete and these guys, are going back to the basics and really working hard on what a defensive line should be doing. And they're bringing it to us every practice, so it's good to see.
Definitely, it sure has made you guys better.
Yes.
Well, don't even think about going anywhere because we've got more Red Zone coming up after a quick timeout.